Okay, scholars, so we're going to go ahead and get started with today's lesson. So today we are working on partitioning a rectangle and identifying the fractions for each part. And right here on the screen, you can see the thinking steps for today's lesson. So step one is going to be draw your shape. Now today we'll work with rectangles for the most part, but it is important to remember that you can use these same steps to partition really any shape, hexagon, triangles, squares, you name it. Step two is to partition the shape into equal parts. So you'll see different times where they ask you to partition the shape into 3 parts, or maybe 4 parts, or 2 parts. Step three is to shade in each part with one of your crayons. So that's why I asked you to get 3 different color crayons or color pencils before this lesson started. Then finally, step four, you're going to write the fraction for each color in your shape. You'll see why we have to write the fraction for each color, why I made that in big bold letters, because that is really, really important. So the first example we're going to look at is actually a real life example. It is a flag from a country named Chad, which is found in Africa. So when I'm looking at this rectangle here, I noticed right away that all 3 of these parts look equal. Would you agree? For sure. So now, if I know that I have 3 total equal parts, then I know the bottom number in my fraction is going to be 3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down for blue, because I know that this bottom number is not going to change because the flag isn't changing. There's just 1, 2, 3 parts on this flag, and there will always be 3 parts on this flag. So now I want to look and think, well, how many of those parts are blue? And I think it's pretty easy to see that out of these 3 parts, only one of them is blue. So that means my top number has to be 1, because 1/3 of this flag is blue. Pretty simple, right? Now let's write the fraction for the yellow part. Again, I have 1, 2, 3 total parts on my flag. So I'm going to go ahead and put my total number at the bottom, because that again will not change. Then I see that there's only one yellow part on this flag. So again, my top number is 1. And then finally, the fraction for the red part of this flag is also 1/3. And if you think back to the what's those things called, the anchor charts that were up top, 1, 2, 3/3 equals 1/2. So altogether, this flag is broken into 3 equal parts. The fraction for each part of this flag, or each color on this flag, is 1/3. It takes 3/3 to make 1 whole flag. So now let's check out an example that will look like the ones that you have to do. The directions for this flag is to partition it into 4 equal parts. So I'm going to get my black pencil out, and I'm going to partition this flag into 4 equal parts. Now I bet you guys have a couple of ideas of how I could do this. So I'm going to start mine, and you let me know if yours looks like mine. So first I will partition this flag down the middle to give me 2 equal parts. Then I'm going to partition it down the middle going horizontally to give me the total 4 equal parts that I need. Now I'll switch and get my red crayon out, and I'm going to color this part red. Again, if you don't have red, you're using some other colors, totally fine. And also, it's a little hard to color on the computer, so yours might look a little neater than mine. Totally fine too. All right, then I'm going to switch and get my green crayon out, and I will color this part green. Boom, boom, boom. Green, green, green. A little more over here. Great. And then finally, I'm going to get my blue crayon out and color this part blue. Blue, 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 blue. Oh yeah. Oops. All right, that's pretty good. But wait a minute. What am I going to do? I used red, I used green, I used blue. What should I do with this empty square? Think about it for a second. I'll just color it in. So I only have these three colors. Out of these three, I like red the most. So I'm going to switch back to my red crayon and color this fourth part red. Color, color, color. Got it, got it, got it. And there we go. All right. Now that's a little different than what we've been doing. If we look back real quick at the Chad flag, we had three different colors to use and only one part in each of those colors. So now we have two parts on our flag that are red. Guess what? That doesn't make it really difficult. That just changes the top number. So instead of saying one part is red, our top number now will be 2 because two parts of this flag is red. And then can you think, what color do you think what number do you think we should put on the bottom of our fraction? Remember, the bottom number is the total number of parts on the flag. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 total parts, 4 equal parts. So I'm going to put 4 at the bottom of this fraction. Next, I'm going to write the fraction for the green part. Well, I only have one green part, so I'm going to put the 1 at the top, and then my bottom number will still be what? You tell me. I hope you said 4. My bottom number is still 4 because I still have the same number of parts on the flag. Then finally, I'll write the fraction for the blue part. I only have one blue part on this flag, so my top number is 1, and my bottom number is still 4 because I have 4 total parts. So now I have partitioned my flag, I have colored it in the colors of my choice, and I have written the fractions for each part or each color on my flag. So guess what, scholars? Now it's your turn.